Tulsa, Oklahoma, a town flush with the warm glow of oil. On the other side of the tracks, the hard streets of central Tulsa. 13-year-old Justin Wiles lives here. Neighbors know him as a good kid who earns money by mowing lawns and doing odd jobs. A kid who always abides by his mother's #1 rule, be back at the house before she gets home from work. One evening, however, Justin is nowhere to be found.
I'm like, where's Justin at? And Lynn's like, Mom, I can't find him. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't find him? She says, well, I went to the store and he was asleep and I come back, he was gone. He had got up and left.
"30 miles south of Tulsa is Lake Bixoma. Around 7 a.m., a fisherman is walking to the water when he sees something sticking out of the mud. Not a rock or a stick, but something that looks like a human hand. By day's end, police have an arm, a leg, a torso, and a head. The parts are bundled and sent to the morgue for autopsy. Due to the mutilation, the medical examiner cannot determine the cause of death, nor can she find any foreign body fluids or hairs that might help identify a killer. To police, at least 2 things are apparent. Their victim is young, possibly a child, and the person responsible is trying to send a message.
Anyone that could do something like this, they're probably not going to stop. You need to get them off the street, and you need to do it as fast as you can.
Sergeant Wayne Allen works the case as lead investigator. He begins by talking to Justin's family and trying to retrace Justin's steps on the day he was last seen alive. Justin's mom tells police the boy liked to hang out at a local body shop named Chopper's. The shop is operated by a neighborhood man named Wayne Garrison, a name that means nothing to Sergeant Allen, but plenty to old-timers on the force. On Halloween Day in 1972, Wayne Garrison was 13 years old. His game of hide-and-seek with a younger cousin turned deadly when the body of 4-year-old Dana Dean turned up, strangled to death in a crawl space under her parents' house. Garrison confessed to the crime, and the case went to juvenile court, where Wayne Garrison was determined to be a child in need of supervision and shipped to a hospital for the mentally ill. 2 years later, Garrison was allowed to visit back home. During his time in Tulsa, a neighborhood boy, 3-year-old Craig Neal, went missing. 4 days later, detectives found Neal's mutilated body under the front porch of Wayne Garrison's grandma's house. Now, 12 years later, another child has been killed, and detectives wonder if Wayne Garrison has once again gone active.
Police do have a suspect. He's a man, a neighbor who lived just a few doors down from Justin.
The resulting attention proves too much for Garrison, who packs up and moves his family to Charlotte, North Carolina. The investigation, however, simply has too many holes, and the DA decides not to file charges. 1 year after Justin Wiles' dismembered body was found, his case finds its way into the cold files. Deep in the bowels of the Tulsa PD is a room filled with shelves of 3-ring binders. Each one represents a life taken, a family in mourning, and justice in limbo. In 1999, Detective Roy Heim and Sergeant Mike Huff pick up one of the binders, that of Justin Wiles.
It's like trying to find the thread that unravels the entire garment.
Less than a week into their review, investigators find what they believe to be their thread, in the form of a photograph.
I looked at that picture and I said, man, that's a bite mark. And, he high-fived me and he said, man, this is it. This is the thread.
Okay, Becky, how you doing? Doing fine? Good. Great. Let's take a look at your teeth, okay?
In a small town west of Tulsa is the office of a country dentist named Brian Hers. When he's not plugging cavities, Dr. Hers works in the forensic community, IDing dead bodies and analyzing bite marks. Hers takes a few measurements and believes the marks are consistent with human teeth. His next question: did they come from the mouth of a child named Justin Wiles? Cold case detectives receive permission from Justin's family to exhume his body and recover the boy's teeth. Dr. Hers makes a mold of the teeth and notices a deep wear pattern, indicative of a very unusual bite.
Very flat wear plane situation in which probably would reflect some sort of a habitual repetitive motion that he had, some sort of a nervous tick or something that would always go that certain way. He'd always work his teeth in that certain manner.
Hers needs to create a bite mark pattern using the mold of Wiles' teeth. To accomplish this, Hers attaches the mold to a pair of pliers and uses the device to mimic the motion of a human jaw.
This is the actual apparatus we use. It has the maxillary or upper arch in a stable situation and has the mandible that moves, very much like a human bite would do.
Hers calls in his dental assistants, asks them to roll up their sleeves, and applies the device to their arms.
At the point in time when I took the biting apparatus off my assistant's arm and actually looked at that first bite mark in human tissue, at that point in time, I had made my decision on what we were looking at. It was a bite mark that looked exactly like that on Garrison's arm.
The fact that Garrison knew the victim and his prior convictions for murdering 2 children paint Wayne Garrison into a tight corner. Wayne Garrison's trial unfolds in a Tulsa County courtroom over a period of 12 days. Prior to trial, the sitting judge refuses to allow evidence of Garrison's prior crimes. The ruling, however, is hardly fatal to the state's case. After about 6 hours of deliberation, a jury returns its verdict of guilty in the first degree.
When you are responsible or, part of a team that puts a child serial killer away, man, that's a good feeling.
After the verdict comes sentencing. Here the jury is allowed to hear about Garrison's past. A past that includes the killings of Dana Dean and Craig Neal, a 3-year-old boy who was sexually mutilated, much like Justin. After 2 hours of further deliberation, the jury recommends death. Wayne Garrison is packed off to Oklahoma's execution line, where he is locked in a cell 23 hours a day, waiting his turn on a gurney.
As long as they keep him locked up, he'll never kill again. Another kid will never have to go through what my child did. We have no way of knowing what my child went through before he killed my child. But they keep him locked up, no other child will have to go through it.